Welcome into Out of Bounds alongside with John Luck. I'm Brian Berard. Yesterday we talked about the New England Patriots. Today we'll talk about John's favorite team in the Boston Red Sox. As for the first time all year, the Red Sox pull out the brooms. They got swept out of Tampa Bay. I believe it was the 86th game they played against Tampa Bay this year. My numbers could be off. John, are the Red Sox going down at the wrong time?
No, I don't think so. Every team in baseball has a down period. It just so happens this is the Red Sox point. The Yankees had that point in the start of the season. It's just right now, it's the end of August, so everything gets kind of magnified. And I think that's kind of where you're at with the Red Sox right now. The bullpen has had its fair share of issues. To me, though, I think the big issue is Chris Sale. When do you get him back, and at what percentage do you get him back at?
Well, last year, the Astros and the Dodgers, they went on these kind of runs towards the end of the year where they went below 500 and didn't really hurt them that much, John. So I'm not really all that concerned. What really concerns me is their bullpen. I mean, it's really been struggling. We talked about it on one of our last episodes of Out of Bounds, but this bullpen is starting to struggle a little bit more. And Kimbrel's kind of on the way up, but it's still, how do you get to Kimbrel? Well,
this is kind of focal point that you go all the way back to March or April I brought up, bullpen usage. Joe Kelly, for example, 59 appearances, 59 innings pitched in 2018 so far. They still have, 35 games left to go. Last year in 2017, altogether, Joe Kelly, 54 appearances, 58 innings pitched. So Kelly's getting overused. Matt Barnes is another example. 55 appearances, 56 innings pitched so far in 2018. Last year, 70 appearances, 69 2/3 innings. So there's a lot of use in this bullpen. So Alex Cora does have his set pitchers, or he did for a while. He had Barnes or Kelly as your setup guy going into Kimbrel, but you had your stars going 6 or 7. At some point, though, you start to overuse them, and you end up in a situation like this.
Do you think they're also overusing Chris Sale? I mean, we saw last year, down the stretch that Chris Sale was really has just lost it. And you got to the postseason. It was his first postseason start ever, so I'm going to give him a slight benefit of the doubt, especially going against the World Series champion Houston Astros in the first round. But when you see them that they're trying to monitor Chris Sale, monitor his pitches, it's going to kind of concern you that he keeps going on the DL with that shoulder inflammation. So you have to wonder, is there something really wrong with that shoulder, or are they just using that as an excuse?
Well, I mean, Chris Sale is maybe this wide? The guy's not
that wide.
This guy's a railroad spike. This has always been an issue with Chris Sale, the way he throws, the arm angle. At some point, Chris Sale's a Tommy John surgery waiting to happen here. And I think the Red Sox are playing with a ticking time bomb. It's almost like the Celtics and Kyrie. You knew you were going to get a guy that had the potential to have a season-ending injury, or an injury that could really be a detriment to the baseball team, in this case for the Red Sox. And I think Chris Sale is that guy. I think this is how the Red Sox have to approach Chris Sale, not just this year, but next year and going forward if he does resign.
Well, because usually at the beginning of the year, Chris Sale just eats up innings. I mean, he'll go deep into ball games like it's nothing.
But now opposing teams go ahead and have the idea, all we have to do is foul pitches back, make these at-bats last longer. There was a while he was averaging maybe, 5 2/3, 6 innings. Then you get into the bullpen and you run into that big laundry list of issues for the bullpen.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Alex Cora does with the bullpen this year. John, for the second straight year, the Major League Baseball had their Players' Weekend. They got to wear some rather interesting uniforms and got to have their nicknames put on the back of their jerseys. I mean, we had Bogey for Bogarts.
Real original.
Yeah, Brock Star for Brock Holt. Was David Price still Astros' dad this year? I can't remember what David Price was.
On there, but
oh, useless. Okay, yep. Even all right. We know how John feels about David Price, so on and so forth. But John, if you played in Major League Baseball and you had Players Weekend jersey, what would be your nickname on your jersey?
Well, I've had a lot of nicknames growing up, and you could probably go through all the nicknames I've had. I mean, you could go with Lucky. For some reason, people would call me Johnny Cakes. I have
Johnny
no idea
Cakes.
why.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was always a big one.
I mean, there were some inappropriate turns that we could have taken with former co-hosts, but we'll just leave it at that. But just give me Lucky. I'll go basic. I'll go Lucky. How about you?
Well, here's the thing. I've had my fair share of interesting nicknames here, but I think probably my most unique one was given to me by my softball team last year. They called me Chick Pot, which is short for Chicken Pot Bry. And it just kind of stuck, so I put that on the back of my softball jersey. So I guess I'd put that on the back of my baseball jersey.
Chicken Pot Bry?
Yeah, for Brian. Chicken Pot Bry. then became Chick Pot, and then I ran over an outfielder this year when we were both calling for the ball.
So an outfielder?
Yeah, and then they called me Brick Pot, like a freight train.
I
But
thought you were talking like you drove over someone.
oh no, I did. Yeah, I just didn't like him, so I just ran him over. All right, so we'll get back to the serious talk here, John. J.D. Martinez and Mookie Betts are having unbelievable seasons. Who's your MVP so far?
At this point, I think you have to see it's kind of tough because with Mookie, he had the defensive abilities, but with J.D. Martinez, he's great offensively. And at this point, I'd probably put J.D. Martinez as your MVP just because he's provided a boost to this team that they didn't have last year. I don't know if this is how voters vote or if they're supposed to vote this way, but you look at what this team did last year, and the only real difference is J.D. Martinez is on it. Now that he's on the Red Sox, they're among the best team in baseball. So I think it's no secret that J.D. Martinez is the reason this team is doing so well, which is why he should be the MVP.
I agree with you, John. I mean, I was always leaning towards Mookie Betts simply because he's a Gold Glove outfielder. He's just solid defensively, and not only is he a great hitter, he does it from the leadoff spot, and he can change the game with his legs. He can steal bases and whatnot. But the fact that he was on the team last year and they won one playoff game, you bring in J.D. Martinez, and all of a sudden now this team's on pace to win 112 games, 115 games this year. So I kind of have to give the edge to J.D. Martinez. I agree with you on this one, John.
They keep playing like they played against the Rays. They won't have to worry about winning 112 games. They won't have to worry about October, but whatever.
All right. Well, so as our daily reminder, you can always watch Out of Bounds on YouTube. Look right there on your screen. Just go to youtube.com, search BTV Access Corporation, or go to youtube.com/BTV Access. So for John Luck, I'm Brian Berard. Thanks for watching Out of Bounds.